essay lecture. This is it. I'm going home to Australia. And which means you now have a new friend in Australia to come and visit. It's awesome, right? I'm planning on getting, or I'm a lot closer to my dream of creating a retirement village in Tasmania. What I want to do is something magnificent like this, right, obviously with somebody else's money, for old people. Because, like, I see all these old cowboys out there, and I go, where are they going to go? Are they going to go to a high-rise in Miami? They'll be dead within a week. They'll be stuffing themselves with a plastic fork, you know. It's like, why plastic? Because it takes longer.
Oh, my gosh.
And I think, wouldn't it be awesome to be like a little old lady in the rocking chair looking at those gorgeous horses. There's Julie Goodnight out there. She's doing some CHA stuff. And look at the gorgeous horses. You've got big horses, little horses, show horses, western horses. And you'd be sitting here on your rocking chair as an old lady going, back in my day, we never did that, right? We were better back in my day. Can you imagine? And that's my goal, because I've worked in nursing homes a lot. I've worked in rehab gyms a lot, teaching really badly bashed up people how to walk again. And a lot the elderly. I have a great joy and affinity of working out. The older the better, you know, and not to the point of nursing them, but to the point of learning from them. Learning how I don't want to look like that when I'm 97, right? And begin with the end in mind. You young things, it's such a pity that you weren't brought up in the Victorian era. In the Victorian era, you were taught how to walk, right? You have a look at the actors and actresses on TV. They'll often walk like this, right? Which is so strange, because people don't walk like that. They walk diagonally, right? And they've got this kind of regal thing going on, right? Well, the Queen of England only holds her handbag in a certain way, thumb on top. Where have we heard that before, right? Her handbag's here. It's not over here, right, because, you know, she's the Queen of England. It's here, with the thumb here, so shake your hand, shake your hand, shake your hand, right? Take a bouquet of flowers, pass it to the lady in waiting. I don't know whether she changes hands. I haven't studied it that much, but one thing I know to be sure is there's your first bit of homework. To go, why does the Queen of England walk like that? And why did the Queen Mother at 1,000,000 years of age totter around on high heels, fit as anything? Because they walked and they did not let themselves become old and floppy and like this. I mean, if you become fat and hideous, well, welcome to my world, right? But this is easy to control, right? Just think, you know, how does the Queen of England walk? Where is her... Can I borrow your handbag?
Absolutely.
Oh, thank you. See you, bye. Pay for my fare to the Bahamas. Like this, right? See the handbag straight. Oh, the handbag straight. Now, if I had a sword, that'd be awesome. I could do that. I could carry that around, right? But if I was like this, I'd be going boof, 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 boof. Well, that's on the forehand, right? This is engaged. And somebody, thank you, and somebody said to me, I think yesterday, when we're doing seat and posture assessments at the trade centre, they said, oh, my instructor says I must have thumbs on top. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Because the rules say that. Rules say that. Which means you're going to lose marks if it's like this. But if you're a trainer, if you're coming to lectures like this, so you're a little bit above the average rider, right, you're getting educated, then you also need to learn how to cheat. And cheating is when the dressage horse comes around in this super pirouette and you go, jingle bells, jingle, jingle bells, and you start to fall apart. That's not the time to be sitting up in a running sliding stop. That's the time to be a bit more, come on, jockey, let's see what we can get away with. And we forget that, because you don't see the behind-the-scenes training that I see. You don't get to see these masters all over the world. South Africa one day, Japan the next day, China the next day. Well, maybe not the next day, that's a bit much. And see how they do it. with their horses and their type of horse and their, you know, their native horses and stuff like this. You know, it's awesome. And, you know, as my final lecture, I thought, I did this in the car park this morning because I've like got 5,000 lectures on my computer. I could talk to you about the Botswanian political situation. I could make something up for 45 minutes, right? Because I've been doing it for years. So as my retirement, I thought, I want to leave an industry to the youngsters with the mastery guidance of us more professional older folk, right? With 4 simple basic rules. And now you've heard them all before, but you might not have just heard them in this way. And to me it was the secret of how am I still alive, right? How hasn't Vane Regal killed me, Old Times killed me, several years of polo cross killed me, well, how am I still alive? There must be something I'm doing. How does Cowboys stay on? Julie Goodnight, as I mentioned before, I saw her at a CHA thing, and she had this stinky little wiggly horse. I can't remember what breed it was, but it was something small. And this thing wouldn't do much of anything. Like, wouldn't go any balls, and, you know, wouldn't go over tough. It was like pitch to fit every 5 seconds. And the watching people like that stay on, because she just got on and had pitched to fit, and she said, yeah, you'll finish sooner or later. And I'm watching people like that, and I'm going, is she younger than me? And I said, I don't know if you've seen her compared to me, right? And I just watched her heels the whole time. I'm like, what's her heels doing? What's her feet doing? What's her feet doing? And they were not doing that. Right? This team were pitching a fit everywhere. I once had the pleasure of watching the head rider of the Royal School on a beautiful, beautiful friend of ours, Ali Goward's from Australia, one of her Andalusian stallions, and this thing, I'm telling you, was pitching a fit, right? It was up, down, in, out, it was like a rodeo show. And I really got an admiration for that rider that day, because he's, you know, one of the most famous dressage riders in the world, but you don't expect a dressage rider to be able to stick on for 8 seconds in a rodeo, right? And this was more like 20 minutes of a rodeo, up, down. And he was going, come on, all right, you know, I have coffee soon. You know, this thing's going everywhere, right? And all I did is I sat and I watched those feet. I sat and I watched those feet. And then I've stood at Rolex several times. Well, I don't like going back to Rolex. You put my heart is like here someplace, right? And I go, and I watch the feet. I don't know, have you guys been to Rolex? It's big. And by big, I mean you can't touch the ditches, right? You can't touch the top. Oh, it's big. And I sit there and I go, what looks like, if that horse trips up, if that horse rolls over, what does that foot look like? I don't care what the trainers say. I care what's going to keep this old lady on, and my grandkids, you know, what's it going to keep them on? I don't care about English or Western or rodeo. There's something that keeps them on. Now, there's different styles of what to do with your feet. In vaulting, we point our toes down, right? But we point those suckers hard. It's like, I think that like I've been for a manicure with the French, you know, with the little white at the top, and then I stick my white nail down in the dirt, you know, on an 18-hand horse. I stick my right tail down in the dirt, and I drag it along the dirt in my mind and pray a lot, right? As you're picking somebody up. And there's a couple of YouTube videos of me and Saint and my friend Nathan this year doing vaulting, last Christmas and Christmas before. And I did not have my heel like this, I can tell you that for nothing. But if anybody says get your leg back, get your heel up, we just don't. Please just don't. Think about always what is the number one thought of the rider. This is your military partner. This is your comrade in arms. You have to be prepared to give your life for that horse. If you take it out 25 mile out from water and home and shelter and vets and horse trailers, there's a life and death situation sometimes in this horse riding business. Well, at the end of my career, I can say I'm disappointed with some folks who value the blue ribbon over holding their horse up, right, who value the blue ribbon, riding like this, over holding that horse up if he falls, and thinking about what equipment would I need if the horse is tumbling down a hill. What equipment does eventers put on? Because they're the most likely to be tumbling down the hill. Simple bit, so that when the horse goes bang, he doesn't go bang on his nose. You're going out trail riding, you can go out in a halter if you're clever, right? But if you're going to canter a man from Snowy River down the hill with me, you better be in a nice little snaffle where the horse goes bomb, right? And you can pick that sucker up. And you're riding around like city slicker. It's disrespectful to the horse, in my very humble opinion. Not only that, you can die. Because you run around like that, you're not going to hold that horse up when he trips out his city slicker, open letter boxes, open gates, all that. That is not man from Snowy River, and I like man from Snowy River too. The guy on the left is Andrew Boy, the guy on the right is long ago. That's a very old photo. The green lines show where their toes point. And the red circle is about where the energy is going to be pushed to when things go wrong, right? Whoop! And he does not have the guy on the left, Andrew Hoy, one time world's #1 eventer, incredible gentleman, and many, did I say many, Olympic medals. Did I mention he's Australian? Like I met him twice, he's a very nice gentleman to me. But, you know, you're not looking after the horse. This is a city slicker. This is not fair. You're not looking after that horse. You're after a blue ribbon, and that's rude. Sorry, it's my last lecture, I can go off. I got to count it up, put up with you. I got to tell you a joke. I haven't told a joke all weekend, so it's joke time, right? I'm a dressage judge of 34 years, but I'm a country girl, right? I'm no city slicker with the earrings and so, the devil challenges God to a competition. The devil says, I want to rule the world. And God says, hey, hang on, I'm God. I don't rule the world. That'd be ridiculous. But the devil says, no. I'll challenge you to the most difficult competition there is. And I'll bet I can win, says the devil. And I'm going to rule humanity for all time. And God says, but I'm God. That'd be ridiculous, right? I'm going to win, right? And the devil says, no, let's do it. And God says, yeah, but I've got all the beautiful horses up here. I've got the old famous Alaric and Coglandus and all these famous Mansug and all the famous horses, right? The Neapolitano horses I've got up here in heaven. And the devil said, no, I want to challenge you anyway. And God said, but I'm God. I've got all the best horses. I've got the best arenas. They're the best lights. I've got the red light things. I've got massage. I've got everything. And the devil said, yes, but I've got all the judges. After 34 years of judging, I'm allowed. That is not an original. I think I pretty much stole that from Mary Wanless. Look, you know, it's what's in your soul as to what the result will be. What's in your soul? I know what's in his soul because I asked him one day. I don't know if you'd ever remember when I was at Sydney Olympics ground. He was a keynote speaker. I was a keynote speaker, very honoured to be, because I can't ride that. That's badminton, by the way. And he won badminton and Rolex in the same year. Darian Powers was that horse. And I said to him, I asked him about a few things about that photo. And I'll give you the clean version because, you know, we are Australians. And he said something like, well, this is the very clean version. I was quite nervous. And that never occurred to me. I thought these guys would be like, yeah, no worries. I didn't realise that half of them are terrified out of their nut. Right, which to me kind of takes a little bit of the enjoyment out of it, but you know, I'm more of your performance in a wonderful gown kind of girl, you know, picking up bolters and picking up fire, that's my kind of deal. This guy on the left is the same issue as this guy on the left. They come to me, Olympic riders, they come to me, I've got a problem like you're leaning on my hands, if you're falling on my hands, if you're no you don't. but you've got a problem is balancing on your feet to be able to do anything, right? People says, what's jumping position? Jumping position is this. Is it not? Have you not been here, and you're not being there, and you're not being here? Well, if you think about the theory, how does the cowboy stay on? He stays on with his heel down, toe up. He stays down with two very good reasons why he will not fall on his pubic bone. Oh, come on, I know Sunday we did the last, right? With a commitment that us ladies will not have, right? A man will not be pitched forward onto his, well, he won't more than once anyway, be pitched forward to the, they won't, but you and I will all the time, which means by their very nature, as soon as they get on, men are often more confident than the women. Have you been to a dude ranch and you've seen the blokes get on, they canter straight up the hill, never seen a horse before? You're like, are you kidding me? I've had 34 years of lessons, I've paid a fortune and I'm still not doing that. And the guy's never been on a horse before. It's because he's projecting on the forehand. It's not a hand problem, it's a foot problem. Now, there was a little girl yesterday, light coloured horse, because all I remember is bits and pieces, light coloured horse, and the leg kept coming back. Oh, she's a jumper, obviously, talented rider, but that leg is behind the girth, and I'm like, oh, no. The toe must be visible, right? If you're here, it's got to be really, really visible. If you're here, right? This thing about shoulder hip heel, we think that's how we ride. But haven't you read the other part of the book that says inside leg on the girth at every corner? Or not on the girth, but like forward. Inside leg forward at every corner. Well, what that does is protects the front end that instead of falling in. So you go around the corner too fast, like I've done a couple of times, right? But you have too. And you are going to thank the day that they said inside leg forward, right? Instead of right? But it's all about the bends. It's all about the bends, no joke. Hey, come on. Some of you young people must know that song as well. I love all those songs that are coming out now with girls, like raising girls up, you know, because there was 10 or 12 years, some of the songs coming out were not raising girls up, that's for sure. It's all about, if that stirrup is behind that girth, I want you to ensure that you have a living trust, ambulance, medical, teeth, optical, and a really good facial surgeon, and I'm not even joking. And that might not just be for you, it might be for the horse as well. Not looking after the horse. Blue ribbon, get off the horse, fly like an eagle. Yeah, fly like an eagle, he broke his neck. That's not right, that's not respectful, that's not right. I don't never know the guy. Steal this in your memory, because I'm telling you, this is actually in a certain exam, I know, this exact photo. I call this the photo, and my friend Kylie in Perth took this photo, and I call this the difference between life and death. The difference between life and death. This one, I can see her heel. The stirrup's not perfect, it's straight, I can see that again. But well, I'm going to say it doesn't matter in a lot in a moment, but in this instance, I can see the heel. I can't see the heel, I can see the fence, but I cannot see any heel. If you take a photo like that of me, I do everything I can to get it off the internet. Because there are plenty of photos of me making every mistake in the world. People go, oh, she's looking down, you know. And look, I'm as crooked as a dog's hind leg, it's just as you are. That's what you're aiming for. Have that full of it. This come back here, do you know what? Let me think. Since 82, 81, 82, when I found out I stopped feeding grain, I've never had a horse buck on me. Never. She tell you I ride, right? She see me ride. I'm a little bit of a radical, right? As a dressage rider, I'm also a vaulter. I love hanging upside down on fire for no particularly good reason. And there's certain things I just don't do. And I just want to show you my boot all the time. See my boot, see my boot. Often we're in a gown, and if I want to go sideways, it's look, and I let that foot come below the gown. And I just think that there's a bottle of water on the fence, and I just go, oh, I'm going to give her a high five. I look, hey, high five, hey. And the horse goes, no problem, sideways. This won't be ever straight, right? It's not perfectly straight. This is the one you've got to think of. What do I look like from the front? Can you see my heel? More importantly, just put your chest back. Put your chest back so you can see your feet. Have a look down and line up your toe with your knee. Line up your toe with your knee. Not back here so you can't see your toe. Not out the open door either, right? But line up your toe with your knee. You must do that on the inside of every circle. 6 meters prior to the corner, which is about here, as you all know, doing metric, right? I did not roll my eyes just then. You know what's a pity about America and metric? You actually have to do both. That's what's sad, because all the medicines in metric, all the plumbing parts are in metric. You've actually got to get those cars. So 6 meters from the wall, that inside leg should be forward. And here's a little cheat. Many times in the future, you're going to think, I want quarters in for one reason or another. A lot of things come in. And when you put your inside leg forward, it does that to your belly button a little bit, so that the quarters won't swing out. Right, so instead of going, oh, I'm going to hold the quarters here, and I'm going to hold the shoulder there, and I'm going to hold his ears here, and I'm going to have a cup of tea, and I'm going to fire my nails, and don't forget he's going to be on the big. All you got to do is don't fall that way. Every corner, you think, I want to sit on that outside foot. You won't be on the outside foot, you'll be balanced, but you're so used to being in here. Because that's what human nature does. That's what it's got to look like. I want your homework to be climb a fence. Climb a fence. Every day, climb a fence, climb a fence, climb a fence. And that's how you better have your stirrups. Right, because there's 5 balls, the many balls in the foot, but there's 5 balls in the foot that are supported by the stirrups. Now, the silly English, God bless them, these are exactly the kind of stirrups. I've got those stirrups with the flexible sides, right? The English made it fashionable to have very narrow stirrups, so you get a lot of leverage of the ankle, right? But we've noticed in fashion, they're starting to become wider again, right? Maybe the cowboys did have it right in the first place. In saying that, with the American Western saddles, you better keep buying Pam cooking sprays, all I can say. If that saddle squeaks, that is not fair. You haven't done the disservice to your horse. The lighter the saddle, the more flexible the saddle. You don't want to be carrying Mount Vesuvius on your back, right? If it's squeaking, get your Pam cooking spray and spray that sucker. By the way, I also put it on the leather seats in my car. Awesome. If it squeaks, it's uncomfortable. Spray it. And when you do that, do the twist of the stirrups, put the broomstick through so that the stirrups hang straight. Because you can't be riding with twisted up stirrups. That's just weird. So fix it. You can fix that. Probably a lighter saddle will fix that. Right? I rode in one the other day that was like Nikes for my butt, and no, I'm not sponsored by this company either. It was an Australian stock saddle made by Wintec. That's all I said, Australian stuff. It was the most comfortable, safest thing I've been in for a long time. I would highly recommend that saddle for the police. I really would. They're the ones that are going to be out there in 100 and goodness knows what degree heat in Tampa and places like that. God bless the Tampa boys. And girls. Oops, sorry. Don't support that 5th ball, your thumbs roll over. Don't support that 5th ball, your thumbs roll over. Here's my thumbs, right? If the outside of the foot sags, your thumbs do this. Well, now your hands are like that, right? If your feet are flat, right, they hang here. Not here, but here. They just hang there, right? So, you know, you feed it like this, and the coach says, look up, ooh, look up, look, and this goes on for a very long period of time, right? Or get your shoulders back, you know. But it's actually the problem with the feet, right? Fix that, and don't be so long the stirrup, that's silly. Take a photo, if your heel's up, shorten your stirrup, for goodness sake, it looks ridiculous. And you might kill yourself, by the way, right? And like, I look at the cowboys and cowgirls out there and I go, nah, don't want to look like that one. Oh, that was awesome, right? And I go, I like that hand and I like that bottom. And I like that you know, foot of that rider, or I like that waiter, and put it all together into the perfect. Because you're never going to make the perfect one, right? You never. Well, good luck on that. You know, never make that. The stirrup length. This photo, this particular photo, which Amy will recognise now, it shows us just below the ankle knobble. If you're nervous, if you're frightened, if you're older, if you're stiffer, and I know this sounds weird, but try it. If you're stiffer, shorten the stirrup to the ankle knobble. It won't kill you. Every vendor in the world's got their stirrups halfway up to their tummy, right? So you can cope, and you go, oh, well, I know that'll make my knee worse. No, long stirrups and searching and twisting, that's what's making things sore. Shorten the stirrups so you've got a perch for the birdie to stand on and to fall off. Whoops! And whoops! I don't know, a lot of falling off miles higher and deeper, you know. If you don't have those heels down, hands up who has a lazy jumper, right? The stops at fences and stuff like that, right? You've got a lazy jumper, there's a couple there. Oh, lazy jumper. Think of how that heel's going to be to stop that jumper from falling. What if the lazy jumper's a really lazy jumper? You're going to have that leg there no matter what you're doing. If that horse stops, right? There's a little split in front, this one. There's no quite correction, so we won't do that. What was number one? Feet, right? Let me have a look at this. Look at my tummy. My right foot's more turned out. Wow. Does that explain a lot or not? Right foot straight, right foot turn out. Oh, your left shoulder's in front of your right, pupil. Bring your left shoulder back. Oh, that doesn't even work. Bring your left shoulder back. Oh, it doesn't even work. Feel this as you go home. Touch the horse's hip. Feel it, bring that foot in. Especially if your stirrups are in the right spot, right? Feel it, bring the foot, allow it to bring the foot in. Running around with spurs on is ugly. And, you know, okay, the cowboys can get away with it because they're very tall men on little tiny horses. But I'm 5'2" on an 18-hand horse with toes out, they're spurs on 100% of the time. Now, cowboys have got longer legs than me, so they've got lower centre of gravity. They can stay on here. I ping off. I'm a little pimple on an elephant. So, off I go. So I got to have something going for me, right? The seat bones, as I said before, a man will never fall on his front seat bone. He sits on his back seat bone, his tailbone, right? If you think your 4 seat bone, triangle. You do not want to be on this triangle unless you're off the saddle, right? And then I'm pretty sure I learned that lesson pretty quick. But we don't. And this is our anchor. First day here, there was a thoroughbred, really nice one, running around like a crazy thing. Who saw it? Right, in my lesson, right? Running around, and because she was a jockey. She was jockey. And she was awesome jockey. Well, running around, awesome, right? But it's not so awesome if you're, you know, 56, and you've broken this, and you're old with that, and you've got a bit of arthritis here and there, and you still want to make it to 94, you know. Then that perhaps that's not the kind of position we want to be riding in. Perhaps we want to be riding more of the old cowboy. The old cowboy, there's one good thing about an old cowboy, he's old. That's good. The other option is not so good. The dead cowboy. Think about how the cowboy sits on the triangle that is his tailbone and his seat bones. Right? And he doesn't seem to wreck the horse's back. People go, oh, I'm going to stand on my horse for 3 seconds, and I had almost full connection to my tailbone. I'm like, oh boy, do not go on the pub crawl on horseback in Australia, because you'll be on your tailbone, because sitting here going down there, close your eyes, go, probably not the brightest position. The seat bone is this seat bone is your anchor, right? The more the cowboy sits, the more the horse goes. So the butt can be in all sorts of places. That back seat bone can be whee, right? Again, what will happen? Now that rider may very well be talented enough to pull that into position. If she was right out there, I could get that and pull that up. Right, I could get that and pull that up and go, come here, brother. Right, but I wouldn't be teaching that position with a little bit, shall we say, Superman butt, right? The rider's legs here, one's getting left behind, one's in front. The exercise to fix that immediately is the number one thing we've been doing all week, which is stand like this. Right, so let's do that. Stand up. Put your hand like that. What I want you to do, look around the room and see how weird people's hands are. Some will be here, some will be twisted, some will be upside down, some will have fingers open. Straight. Dead straight. Behind your ear. Up against your head. Alright, now I'm an old lady missing half of my chest wall, so you can do it. Yeah, up against the head. That's how far you've got to get to be straight. It's a lot of you trying to get your head over here. Right? Grab a seat again. That one exercise is going to fix everything, because if you can jump down a hill like that, I think most of your riding coaching is almost over, right? Because that's a really seriously difficult thing to do. We started in halt. Because just here, we had arms that were here, we've got torn rotator cuffs. So what? I had a torn rotator cuff, I've broken my spine, so what? I had breast cancer, they chopped half of my chest out, who cares? Work it, every day you work it. Come on, that was good. Looking at the seat bones, front and back, that's your clamp. This is probably the worst thing that I get to see, because this will screw a horse up quickly, right? It'll hurt the horse or something or another quickly, right? So what I want you to do is start riding behind each other and say, rider number 2, tell rider number 1 which side of the helmet is closer to the ground. Well, that looks right. Right? Which elbow is closer to the ground? What do you see? It's already a little bit, whoop, right? We've got a little imbalance of the feet, but the saddle is an immediate veterinary emergency. I can't even spell it more clearly to say, you see that? You have a duty to fix it. And it will either be one stirrup too long, keep your stirrups level. Hands up who believes or who has been told they have one leg longer or shorter than the other. Welcome to, look around. That's normal. Right? Oh, you've got one leg shorter than the other. Give me your money. Give me your money. You're normal. You've got one hand. Your wedding ring doesn't fit on this hand. Right? These shoes never seem quite... You look at the bathtub and you put your feet up on the bathtub, you're actually a freak of nature. Right? You know, 1 foot like this big and one thing, you know, nothing's... We've just got to try to give the horse the most balanced ride we can in our crippled, twisted body. What are you going to become, 13-year-old gymnast by tomorrow? Good luck on that, right? You young ones stand a chance of more perfection than we do, because I'm about to retire, this is it, right? But these 4 or 5 simple things will cover, like my disabled riders. I've got a disabled lady with scoliosis. People come to me, they go, I've got scoliosis, and I really laugh. I go, oh, really? That's embarrassing that you even said that, right? Because I work with parallel questions where their spine is like this. That's scoliosis. Or you've got a little twist. Where am I got scoliosis? So what, right? You've got to get that rubbish out of your mind and get on with the job. And this will create twisted something or another in the spine. Maybe kissing spines, maybe something sore, I don't know, but it's not going to be great. And those big, heavy, Western old-fashioned saddles, yes, I did say old-fashioned. There are newer materials that are lighter and more comfortable at horse. think to the future. Why think of the past? Look around. Look at the beautiful materials we've got now. Light, it's flexible and soft. And you can't tell me any university in the world is not going to find one of those big hunky monkey saddles heavier and more uncomfortable for the horse from a lighter shape, safer, without the silly pretend city slicker horn. That's deadly. We do it in Australia, we go, you lost your mind. You want to do reining? Get a proper horn where you can't de-spleen yourself. And I'm not saying go English because that's harder. I'm saying go to the Australian stock saddle, they're cheap. You can buy them on the internet, they're soft, they're flexible, you can swim in them, they're awesome. They've got pads and pads and pads and pads. And, you know, if I was recommending to the police in this country, if I had the money, I'd buy them all the saddles in the world. I'd go to Winjack and I would buy a bunch of those plastic saddles because they're light and they're comfortable. Why not? People go, oh, they're this and that. No, they're not. They're fine. I did endurance in those saddles. You kidding me? Side balance. When one seat bone is heavier than the other, the horse is going to hate it. This lovely lady at the back does amazing trails, right? And she's been showing me all. Imagine if she rode up and down her trails with one seat bone heavier than the other, the horse would hate her, right? Don't do it in your performance. One seat bone heavier than the other to turn is unnecessary, it's uncomfortable, the horse hates you, so don't do it, right? If the horse is flicking his tail, you know what that is? That means he hasn't got a middle finger, right? And so we take marks off. We take marks off in dressage. We take marks off in dressage. Right? We take marks off. One side balance mistake could be deadly, right? One side balance mistake. Number 3 of the 4. What's the first one? Skis. Learn the water ski, right? Those skis are just gotta be, that's all you got, baby. Elbows. Feel free to come to Australia, to Tasmania, and I will be serving lobster mornay. Oh, I've missed that in this country, you just do not understand. A glass of maybe Chablis, and I'll be carrying it on some fabulous tray, and it won't be like this. Because I refuse to become an old lady position. I can't help about the wrinkles, you can. But there's no way I'm going to look like this little old. That's ridiculous. Pull yourselves up and have a bit of grandeur about you. Queen of England's elbow. So have a bit of grandeur. Slobby old things. Oh, it looks ridiculous. Elbows, have a bit of grandeur about it. Isn't it interesting that the elbow on the left and the elbow on the right is actually identical? Not many jumpers jump with that elbow. They jump with this elbow, like Superman elbows, straight elbows. The red line shows engagement. Please notice that the jumping horse is on the bit, not flying at the fence with her like, you know, looking like a seagull. Oh, that was quite funny actually. The sitting of the red line, right, does depend on the horse. When people go, oh, well, a quarter horse can't sit. Oh, really? Have you not been to reining recently? You watch them sit, right? You want to learn how to sit? Learn from a reiner. Reiners know how to sit better. You want to learn how to go faster? Learn from a jockey. You want to learn how to go faster? Learn from a nice barrel racer. It's my final lecture, what are you going to do? Come on, that's fairly funny. Has not anybody laughed at that? Elbows, not eyebows, elbows. There's no E, come on. Do you guys spell? Because like same as us, because we're like in the southern hemisphere and you're in the northern hemisphere, so like it's upside down. So is it the same, is it? The alphabet? Z, Y, X, W, V, U, T, S, R, Q, V, O, N, M, L, K, J, I, S, D, F, E, D, C, B, A? Is that the same? No? Oh. How weird you are. Elbows. I had to chop her head up. The start is what? Not looking after the horse. I've been picking on the jumpers. Don't worry, I'll pick on Western. I'm good at that. I'll pick on everybody. Not looking after the horse. Ribbons. Egoic. Learn that word, it's bad. Egoic, ego, I'm really important. And I used to ride like that, exactly like that, right? In dressage, but the dressage version, right? My fingers open. And the reason I did was I asked someone important one day, why do you ride with your fingers open? He said, I ride with my fingers open because I can. And I thought that was awesome. So I copied him. Yeah, now look at my fingers. Thanks very much, Mr. Open Fingers Pants. These days, well, I've got rods in there, screws, all this. That is, sorry, city slicker. We do not go down mountains like that. That's not looking after the horse. And these funny, weird, shanky bits, I'm sorry, I'm boycotting every saddlery that sells twisted wire bits, twisted shank bits. Boycott those saddleries. Create some trouble, kids, right? Yeah. And get helmets in a silly adult's head. You know what's really weird? They make you wear helmets, right? Well, you should go on boycott until your parents wear helmets. Because guess what? They're the breadwinners. How can you go out and earn a living right now? They have to protect you by wearing a helmet. How dare they get on a horse without a helmet and not look after? That's child abuse. Huh. Awesome last lecture. Protect your horse. Come on, be nice to the horse. This lovely lady, I've been talking to her at the back, and she goes all over the mountains, and yeah, you, and she goes all over the mountains, and she's awesome. And as soon as you meet her, you know somebody's been in the forest on their own for a long time, right? And leading tours and leading people and stuff like that. You know it because they know the dangers of the forest. They're wise, they're slow, they walk careful, they think careful. They have a deep spirit, right? They don't have an egoic, I've got to win the race. No, I've got to protect my friends from bears and holes and snakes and weird things falling in front of me. I once had an aerial rabbit. Seriously, I was going down this cliff face, I was like, and I heard a wrestle in the bush, and this rabbit must have had a panic attack and just whoosh straight across the eyes of my horse. My horse just went, oh, okay, flying rabbits, okay, no. Number 3 is the elbows. What elbows will she need going down one of the beautiful mountains up there to hold that horse up when it falls? Because they're the elbows that you need to hold that horse up. They're the fingers that you need to hold the horse up. Tuck your fingers in because you're going to break the suckers. How many here's got broken fingers? 2. Oh, not already. You know, the action of her leg there is all very well, but the whole thing is sort of like, we end up in that, and that creates a very jamming spot on the horse's spine. It's more balanced. The horse's spine can carry you better. Elbows, good and bad. Everything bad. I don't know what. Watch horses' manes. Watch what they do. Perfect mane should be split down the middle, both sides. If it's hanging to one side, find out why. Thumbs are part of the rule book. And we've shown again and again and again on our DVDs how thumbs can save your life, but how thumbs can, how you can cheat. Because this is full on for the horse. That's a lot to carry. And this is more, you see me riding like that, you go, oh, that horse is not really ready to carry her. Or she should stop eating so much Kentucky Fried Chicken either way, right? Here, you really, and here the cowboy position, they're really bad, or really bad. They're really carrying, the horse has to really carry you. So you don't do that on 4- and 5-year-olds, do you? You need to see the sacrum of a 4-year-old horse, right? Because they're like jelly. They're not even together, right? So stop riding on horses. The last thing is your helmet. I pray that in my very final lecture, somebody wakes up in your stupid country and says, enough with this helmet crap, because I've lost friends, I've lost a few enemies, and I don't want to see these kids die, and I don't want to see the parents lose their income. What are you thinking? Especially the men. Because they're the income. You know they earn more than we do. Come on, women. They're the income winners. How dare they get on a horse without a helmet? How dare they jeopardize their child? Jeopardize their grandchildren's future because you'll lose your farm. You'll lose your farm when you're stuck on a catheter for the rest of your days, sipping your soup out of a straw. You'll lose your farm, you'll lose your car, you'll lose your wife. You'll run up to the Philippines with some hunk. Get it together, you lot. The safety violations I've seen this weekend, Julie Goodnight and I had to go out and had a therapeutic cocktail last night about it. We actually did. Because it's just life and death. You're not learning these basics. You're not. There's a wonderful group out there called Chaos, right? And they're the Volters. Why aren't you doing that? That's riding, right? Why are you putting all these terrible bits on these horses and not protecting yourself? So you do not come on my property without a helmet. I had 5 or 6 Westies and they had helmets on this weekend and they, guess what, didn't drop dead. We have an ambulance lady here, a professional paramedic. She's one of our registered coaches. She'll tell you what the brain looks like. Boycott your parents. Till they wear helmets. Tell them to stop smoking. Tell them to put seatbelts on. Tell them to stop driving over the speed limit and tell them to put a helmet on their head. This is so much fun. The helmet is, to me, one of the most beautiful pieces that you can ornate in the costume class. I'm a bit of a costume class girl. I love my costumes. You can ornate it to something Disney World or Frozen, or you could, put all sorts of wigs and things on. And so that really teaches you, when you're carrying a crown of a queen or something like that in some show, it really teaches you what that feels like to move in that way, not in this way. The most of us move, right? But in this way, of being able to turn with the crown still on your head. When the helmet tilts, our horse crosses over completely. When the helmet tilts, the shoulders jackknife. When the helmet tilts, the horse just crosses over the back legs. So a lot of people say my horse's shoulder escapes. You will never hear me say that, right? It's a waste of the best bit of the fix. Because if the shoulders escape, no, you pulled on the inside rein. I can guarantee it. Cowboys' shoulders don't escape. Oftentimes they get wrong bend. They escape the wrong way, right? From neck reining. It's not done correctly, right? They can get wrong bends quite a lot. It's not the shoulders escaping, it's you pull on the inside rein. The angle of the bit is too much. Instead of here, it's here, right? You did it at the front. Created the head tilt, which created the jackknife, which created the crossover. It's just a surfboard going around a wave. That's the front, that's the back. Well, if that does something, this does something. So if the helmet is, if here's the horse and the helmet's to one side, now we see the left front foot opening. But in the dressage horse, that will be unbalanced. In the reining horse, it could be disastrous. Coming into a reining slide, overweighting one stifle, overweighting one hock, how long is that going to go on for before the horse is dead? Be in the centre of the horse. I asked this lady deliberately to tilt her head off, and this photo is so old. It's from Equitana, Brisbane, one of my favourite shows. And I asked her to tilt her head off, and copy and paste had just been invented on the computer. And I got a green line to work, and I drew that green line. It took me about a day to look up how to do it, it was awesome. And because it was so difficult to get the size I wanted and all of that on her helmet, I thought, oh, I can use this new copy and paste. And I can get that line and I can move it down the page, and I put it on the horse's brow band, and I nearly dropped dead. It was the most identical angle. And I knew you tilt, they tilt, but I didn't realise how perfect the angle is. That is exactly his brow band, I promise you. That is exactly her helmet, I promise you. Isn't it the weirdest thing? And we ride around like that all the time. Every single rider in the world has one ear up closer to the ground than the other. Which means one ear, one seat bone, one elbow, one foot. go whoop, down the hole. Here's our homework. To go homework. And as is my final lecture ever in America, it's my most important thing that got me my major success in my riding. Going from breast cancer to broken spines to busted up things and, you know, this and that. And getting back to being so brave on my horse, it was insane. And Amy Vanderhill will tell you that, yes, he was a dressage horse, yes, he was very successful here in America, but he was better out there, right, showing off to the people, me doing all my tricks and they go, ooh, that old lady, look at her, she can still do that, that's awesome. It was all about learning to stand. It was all about having a vaulting lesson. And please try to get rid of those horns in the front. That's just, they're deadly. There's no purpose for them. None. We don't break into saddles like that. We're not that stupid. They're very, how many shirts have got caught up? How many belts have got caught up? How many bras have got caught up? Straight and stock saddle. You want to be padded in, you want to stay in a sticky Australian saddle. Those suckers will keep you in, especially if you're swimming. You take them swimming and your jeans just suck you on like super glue and all of a sudden you can ride. It's awesome. This is Safe, the horse I was just talking about, and this is my friend Priscilla's place down in Tennessee. Oh, we are in Tennessee, aren't you though? And this is every day, straight up. Right, they're the four. Up, there, here, and then sit on my hand. Up, forward, here, sit on my hand. Right, and I do it in the middle, pirouettes, I do whatever, jumps, I do however I can manage. In the beginning, when he didn't have any brakes, right, or I couldn't figure out where they were, it'd be like, huh? And then I got braver and braver. And, you know, and this big boy is about 17, 3 or 2 or something like that. I'm like, he had these feet, oh boy. Everything I know is on DVD. I spent years and years just writing down everything I know. Because I don't know why I was given a gift to fall off all the time. Why God thought that was a good idea to give that to me. Combined with somebody who could talk well and rock up and know where the fish knife goes and knows the difference how to hold a glass of champagne to a glass of red wine. Look it up. I don't know why that happened, but I do know this. I'm still alive. That's awesome. It's got to do with your heels. It hasn't got to do with your core. How come I got this? Right? But how come I got these and balance and one foot in front of the other and balancing and do something a little bit every day. Standing and warm up, one foot in front of the other, dead straight. Change it up, one foot in front of the other. Every day, trying to improve my balance. Stop feeding your horses so much grain and they won't be psychotic. Chop up your hay. Hay is deadly, we know that. Especially in America. If you grab your hay and it hurts, close your eyes and you grab the hay and it hurts your hand, that's cattle hay, there's no horse hay. You know, if that's all we've got, because, you know, Australia's got some pretty bad land, we chop it up. Get a leaf mulcher from Lowe's and chop that sucker up. I don't feed him sticks. No wonder your horse will get a colic, right? Stop feeding the grain. Get soft and loving equipment and choose the philosophy that you want. Are you going for the blue ribbon or are you going to look after your best friend? That is your soldier. Are you going to leave him behind in battle? Are you going to be riding around like some city slicker now that you've heard this? Or are you going to look after him? Because he's doing a lot to look after you, I can tell you that for nothing. So, I can see America is in a troubled time. This is how I'd like to finish America. Look down for me. It's Sunday, just look down for a sec and say, thank you. God bless.
Thank you.